Under status quo, the vast majority of religious believers are affiliated to some religious institution or other. So you have Catholic Church, Protestant Church, Islamic sects, for example, each of them with hundreds of millions of members centralized in one way of believing, one way of interpreting central religious texts. We are telling you that we prefer a world in which these religious institutions are weaker or do not exist at all. We prefer a world in which the spiritual fulfillment of individuals is a matter for each individual and is not mediated by external power structures, external hierarchies with their own interests, their own political positions, their own desire to control and brainwash those vulnerable individuals. So that's what we're really going to prove to you in the next 6 minutes and 20 seconds. 2 points of rebuttal before we get into that material. Their main case is that it's better for people's spiritual fulfillment when they collectively share an idea of God, when they're members of a group that they can identify with because those other individuals also believe in God in the same way. We think that this is problematic for two reasons. The first is simply that they asserted that strong religious belief is a good for all human beings, right? It's better for you and better for your life when you have a strong religious belief. We don't see any mechanistic analysis or any principled reason why we should buy this assertion. They then told us that, well, probably their reasoning is because life is hard. I think that's what it boils down to, and some people can't cope with that or struggle to cope with that. Our response is that not everyone believes that the appropriate response to life being hard is to pray to God, and then if God's there, everything's going to be okay. Not everyone needs religion to cope with the hardships of life. Individuals are unique. Value pluralism as a fact of human existence. That is our position. They want to centralize, they want to essentialize human nature into this sort of everyone needs God. That's not the case. Religious institutions have the same sort of message. They all want to tell you that their God is what you need for a happy life. Individual discovery of the Bible may tell you a very different story that you would not discover if religious institutions, no thank you, had their way with the discourse. And then they tell us that what we really need is a strong belief in what these religious institutions tell you. We believe that this is worse for individuals than values authentically discovered through a process of individual reflection on the evidence, on the texts, and all the other materials that religions use to justify their doctrines. Because that sort of process is more likely to produce insights that are more consistent with the true self of that individual, the true personality of that individual, rather than that being externally, preemptively structured by interpretations created by another human being. We believe that the value of autonomy needs to be protected from these kinds of external interventions, and self-discovery of these texts, of all these materials, is the way to get there. No thank you. Their second point was much thinner. It was just like, well, under status quo, religious institutions have hierarchies, but these hierarchies are being challenged, so it's fine, right? We can still have discourse and conversation. But these challenges are necessarily weak because religious institutions claim unique legitimacy. So I give you an example. The Pope claims to have a direct line of conversation with God, right? That is not something that an external challenger can claim without being labelled insane, a member of some sort of weird cult, right? You can't go to the doors of the Vatican and say, I'm talking to God, and expect anyone to listen to you, whereas the Pope can do so. So those challenges are always going to be structurally weaker. There's not going to be that potential to have that kind of discussion. Whereas in our side of the house, we think people probably are more likely to be open-minded when they do discuss religion, because an external authority to which they can appeal in the form of the Catholic Church or the Grand Mufti in Cairo is not there, right? It is you and another human being debating on a level playing field as individuals. That's when you get better conversations. No thank you. So, what do we want to talk about? First of all, let's analyse some specific empirical properties of religious institutions, right? What are their interests? How do they tend to work in the real world? The first thing to note, religious institutions very often struggle for power against each other in ways that are harmful to individuals in real, tangible ways, right? They create these sort of in-group and out-group dynamics that lead to things like wars happening, lead to things like Catholic, Protestant, or Shia-Sunni irreconcilable conflicts in parts of the world where members of these groups are taught from a very, very early age, you must love all Catholics and hate all Protestants, because those are the interests of that group. The difficulty created specifically by religious institutions structuring people into in-groups and out-groups is that these disputes necessarily cannot be reconciled or resolved, because God's not here to tell us whether the Catholics or the Protestants are right. So they go on and on and on. That's something that we don't have happening in a world where these religious institutions are not mobilizing individuals into groups of mutual prejudice and mutual hatred in this way, because instead religion is much more likely to be a private matter that they keep in their home, and they do not have these kinds of battles. And when they do, they're more likely to be civilized discourse, as we said. Second, we think that, as we've already really made clear, they delegitimize people who are outside the religious institution, right? Then they crowd out other possible conceptions of Christianity, of Islam, other possible interpretations of books that are huge and often contradict themselves entirely, so do have lots of interpretations you can come up with. But because they claim this unique legitimacy, they create permissive conditions for horrific abuses to take place. Because, like, how do you, as an ordinary Catholic, question a priest who you think is abusing a child when you know that that priest has met the Pope and the Pope is kept with God? So God clearly has endorsed that priest, and what do you have on your side? Nothing, because the priest is who you rely on for your spiritual guidance. So that is a situation in which you have these permissive conditions created for individuals who cannot speak out, cannot fight back against these institutions with hundreds or thousands of members, millions of members, and lots of money, resources as well to use against you. Yes, please.
Individual being able to be autonomous and having the choice is also value neutral. Why that benefit is more important than having a solid and stronger psychological pillar?
We presume in favour of liberalism as a rule, right? We presume that we don't know, as a sort of external debate team arbiter, what the perfect value set for individual human beings is. We think it's better, therefore, that because we recognise individuals do tend to take different value positions innately, it's good that we have structures that don't force them, indoctrinate them into positions that they would not otherwise have taken without that external influence. We presume in favour of a world in which we have, rather than hierarchical power structures telling you correct interpretations of the Bible and so on, that you are actually meant to discover these texts yourself as an individual who is truly autonomous. We presume in favour of that because we don't know what the truth is. That's the most logically sound position to take. Next, religious institutions involve specific group interests that reflect the hierarchical positions that they take and reflect the interests of their leaders. They have an interest in keeping the group going, and the leaders, who are not democratically selected in the vast majority of cases, have an interest in preserving their political positions. That means that religious institutions tend to be quite commonly lying to, coercing their members, and from a position of authority, because they don't want those members to leave the institution. They don't want the institution to become weaker, don't want the group to become smaller. Finally, we think that religion is deeply, deeply personal. It's something that structures your morality, right? It structures who you are. It's incredibly important, therefore, that it is an authentic reflection of you, that those values are the values you would adopt even if the religion was not there, or at least they sort of integrate with your personality, make it stronger, make it better able to handle moral questions. Because everyone is unique, because everyone is different, and I don't think they're going to prove that's not the case, the harm of religious institutions is that they tell millions of believers there is one single, one-size-fits-all correct set of moral values that a Catholic must believe X. That limits the kind of independent thought that allows individuals to flourish as independent moral agents who can actually challenge themselves, who can challenge the institutions of society. That's why we stand against these institutions. That's why we want the kind of religious belief that you can only get when you value autonomy as we do. Thank you.